Hi, my name is Michael Bailey Smith, and I was on Charmed for 2 years, seasons 3 and 4. I played the famous Belthazor. I played the Grimlock, Janor. I played Shax, the End. I played the source of all evil, and I played the Grimlock leader. It was great. So yeah, my first role was playing a Grimlock called Janor on an episode called All Halliwell's Eve. It was the 3rd season. I was guest starring on it, and yeah, it was great. It was interestingly enough, as I was doing that episode, I would have people come up to me and say, "Hey, you're doing a really good job," and I would say, "Thank you," but when you get compliments, a lot of times you don't let it get to you. You just keep trying to do good work. And so, at the end of the show, when I got vanquished or killed off, I went to my trailer to change, and my manager calls me and says, "Hey, they want you back." And I'm like, "I just got killed off." "No, they want you for this other character." They hired someone else to play this one character named Belthazor. He wasn't working out, and they want to replace him with you. So I said, "Okay, great." So the next week I was on the set reshooting some of the stuff that this other guy had done, and I continued to do Belthazor. So that's kind of how the whole thing started. Yeah, so throughout my career, I've done over 100 movies and TV shows and things like that. And when I have to play a type of creature, character, something that's in prosthetics or what that's very physical, I always start from the ground up in everything that I do. I start from the way he walks, his mannerisms, his movement, and kind of like the way he talks. I add that. And then when I learn the dialogue, and the character, story, all those things like that what I've learned before helps inform me in that dialogue and how he's going to portray that. And that's kind of my process. So, playing Belthazor was probably one of my favorite characters to play, of course. I got to play opposite Julian McMahon. As towards he played the human form, I played his alter ego, his demon form. And it's kind of interesting, I was in the original Fantastic Four, 1994, and I played Ben Grimm, the Thing. He was in the new Fantastic Four, and I think in the 2000s, and he played Dr. Doom. So we have some shared history there we both were kind of in the same type of franchise movie, so it's kind of interesting. We did. The same thing when I was with the Fantastic Four. I played Ben Grimm, and there was a stunt guy who was in the suit for the Thing. And so I made sure we worked together to make sure that his mannerisms matched mine. So with Julian, he showed me what he wanted to do, but I'm an actor, right? So he showed me what he did in the scene, or I was there when he filmed it, and then I just kind of took what he did and then just carried on from there, but as Belthazor. So that's kind of how we work together. Of course, Alyssa, I got to get in, we were in bed together. And it was funny, when they asked me, "Hey, so we're gonna do the scene where you're gonna be in bed with Alyssa Milano," I said, "And you're gonna pay me for this?" And so that was quite funny when they asked me. But yeah, I play the antagonist, right? I'm the ultimate demon, and Julian's alter ego is demon form. And so there was a lot of interaction with Alyssa and with Holly and Shannen. And then when Shannen didn't come back on the 3rd, 4th season, and then there was Paige. And so I got to interact with her too. And they're all wonderful ladies, great ladies, professional, great actresses, and it was fun. It's funny, I've told this story before, but when I was on the set, ready to step on the set as Belthazor, Alyssa Milano would walk by me and give me a little kiss on the cheek and say, "You're not scary." Kind of way, I guess, maybe reassuring herself that she wasn't going to get scared. So it was quite fun. Well, it wasn't until we did season 4, right? So no one knew when I, knocked her through a wall, along with Holly, right? With her the same. I knocked Shannen and Holly through the walls. Holly came back, but Shannen did not. And so on the day, we just thought it was really a cliffhanger, right? So we thought that they were all going to come back. And when she didn't, that was a bit of a shock. I think, wow, I killed her off the show. I feel kind of bad about it. So, and I've gotten some hate mail. Trust me, hate messages on social media and stuff like that. Yeah, and I'm like, it's not my fault. It's the writing. Yeah, but people are pretty. All TV shows, there's an escape there, right? So, and people and Charm provided a great escape for a lot of people, especially women. Yeah, and I think, wow, I actually killed off one of the main characters, so that was kind of crazy. Yeah. Of course, I mean, it was the show itself was really well run. I've been on TV shows where they're not very well run. You can tell the show's in trouble. Charm's was very professionally done and well run, and on that day was an intense day, and a lot of stunt rigging and things. Either stunt doubles come in and go through the wall when I do all the kind of stuff. So, and the character itself is the Shax. The character is again, I build everything from the ground up. So I'm a martial artist. So what I did is that I took some Tai Chi that I know and kind of added that to his movements, very flowy. Shax is a demon of wind and tornadoes. So I did that kind of flowy. And then his voice that he would use, one of his pieces of dialogue was "the end," right? So I could have just said "the end," but I didn't. I wanted it to be more that would fit that type of demon. But not only that, I was listening to before that I did that character, I was listening to Jim Morrison from The Doors. And Jim Morrison has a song called "This Is the End," this is the end. I'm like, wow, it's kind of like the same thing. And the way he said it was very, "This is the end." And that's kind of how I did it. I mimicked it like, "The end," and then wow, I did that whole situation. So yeah, it was interesting and fun. Yeah, that would be fun. You might have to give me a wheelchair to get there. I'm coming. Just kidding. No, it would be fun. It would be fun to do something like that. Yeah, that'd be great. IP, right? Intellectual property is always in Hollywood. That kind of runs the show. Everything is based off of existing IP. Something else that was popular, and Charmed was a popular show, right? And so they had this remake done, and I heard it was okay. But would it be great to bring back, everybody? It'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't seen Dorian. I have not seen since I did a reunion in the UK. So that was back in 2006 or 7, right? So it's been 20 years or so at least. And then Holly, I've met her on the autograph signing because of the horror stuff that I've done. I've done some horror cons, and so I've met her there a couple times on different things. But great lady, and I did their podcast, her and Drew and Brian's podcast, and a couple times, not like once. And yeah, so it was good to see them and finally meet Drew. Dorian, I know he's a good friend. He follows me on Facebook. Because when I'm on Facebook, I tell stories. So I love writing. You know, I've written a ton of screenplays, and I've once gone into production. Here shortly got option, which is really great. But I love telling stories different about my life. I've had a very fortunate to have done a very interesting life from, you know, Air Force brat, traveled around the world, went to high school in the Middle East in Iran, graduated from high school there, went in the military as a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division, walked on to a university as a football player, American football, became an All-American, went to the Dallas Cowboys, hurt my knee, finished my degree, went to San Diego, accidentally, kind of by accident, went to an audition and ended up getting the role of Super Freddy in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, started this whole career, right? I did that for 30 years and now I'm in business. So I have my own company, it's in the tech world, and I still dabble in the acting, but I do a ton of writing, but yeah, it's just been, it's been a blessing. I look at my life like in these segments, like I had the football segment, I had the Hollywood segment, I had the military segment, and then I have this business segment. And each one, it has a beginning and a middle and almost like an end, even though Hollywood's still there. But each one, you know, you gotta crush it and be successful, work your butt off to get there and be successful. So that's what I do. I'll share something personal. You know, back in 2021 during COVID, I had a serious medical event. I had pulmonary embolism, 2 big large blood clots in my lungs. I almost didn't make it. I almost died. And when I was sitting there on the gurney and the doctor said, this is all we've done, we just wait for the medication to work. If it doesn't work, well, you know, I would call my wife, you know, and let her know what's going on. I called my 2 boys, told them I loved them, and my wife, I said, hey, you know, if I don't make this, we'll be okay financially? She said yes. When I hung up, I sat there and I go, you know what? I'm okay. If I don't make this, I'm good. Because I did the best I could in my life. And I think that's the key with anybody, right? You never want to go through life with regrets. You know, when I worked on Charm, no regrets. I busted my butt the whole time, every day, all the way. All through Hollywood, I worked my ass off. I've done crazy things and incredible things, been around the world filming. I'm getting emotional talking about this. But that's what you have to do in life, is you have to live it to the fullest without regret, right? Because regrets are just, you can learn from them, but don't have regrets. So that's how we are.